What is going on, RFL fans, College Series 3 fans? Coach Chris Dunn here of the Sacramento Miners, host of Miners Live, and now host of Campus Rewind. Here we are for the post-game Thursday night edition of Campus Rewind. For those of you that watched earlier this evening, the Auburn Tigers try to hang on against the Oklahoma Sooners. Last week, you saw Oklahoma in a come-from-behind effort, and this week, you were treated with a very similar game and a very similar outcome. So for those of you that had a chance to check that game out, here you go, right here. Auburn 26, Oklahoma 30. The Sooners get the victory. They move to 2-0 on the season. A couple things to take away from this game. Tight end for Auburn, Hawks, you might as well just call him Fort Hawks because he is just straight cash money. 12 catches, 171 yards, and a touchdown. Allen Mourning with a great day for Oklahoma, 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. Really just a great game by a lot of individual performances that stood out in this game. At the end, Oklahoma comes back and gets the victory. I thought that Auburn was going to be able to hold on to this one, but Oklahoma was just too much. The second half push. Allen Mourning, again, 2 weeks in a row, solid performance from Allen Mourning, the generic prospect, or I'm sorry, not generic prospect, the user-submitted prospect from Oklahoma. So nice to see back-to-back solid performances from him. You can see that 99 awareness and 90 throw power certainly on display. A couple things that stood out from that game. We'll try to pull up here. If you caught this play late in the game, this is the play that I don't agree with, and it was a pass from Auburn quarterback Heller into the back of the end zone. It was ruled a touchdown on the field. It went to further review, and upon further review, they actually continued. The call stood, and they ruled it a touchdown. So I'm going to pull up that play for you. I don't agree with this play. I don't agree with this ruling. Tell me your thoughts on this here as I'll roll this. If we can get this to come up. I don't see it coming up on screen here. Let me try this again. I'll try to run this back. So again, this was a play later on in the game. Auburn gets a touchdown to get close. And then here's the play here as I'll pull this down, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So as you can see, Heller right there in the pocket, you can see where he's going the whole time. You can see he's got his man. He's wide open. He hits him right as he comes into a break. He leads him towards the back of the end zone a little bit. And as Heller winds up and throws, it almost looks like Perkins just lost visual of where the end zone was, where the back of the end zone was. You can clearly see right there, he's out of bounds. Okay, both feet are down. In college, you only need 1 foot. I get it. But one of those toes is touching the white. Clearly, he is out of bounds. The refs absolutely missed this call. You can zoom in right there, and this is a great job by Smitty in the postgame of getting this video, getting this highlight. Clearly, you can see right there, and maybe you want to go in there, and maybe you want to take a piece of paper, and you want to slide it underneath that toe, and you want to prove to me that his toe is actually not touching the white, but by all accounts, for all intents and purpose, you're going to have a hard time convincing anyone, especially me, that his toe is not on the line right there. However, the refs missed it. It happens. You guys are just going to have to get used to this. Things like this happen. Things like this happen in football. This time, it was to the benefit of Auburn. At the end, it didn't really matter. It didn't cause any harm to Oklahoma. They were able to secure the victory anyway. I just thought that it was interesting looking at that call that the referees made, knowing that it went to review, and they still upheld the call. The call stood. I don't agree with it. Maybe you guys disagree with me. Maybe you think that his toe was off. I don't think he was. But Oklahoma gets a victory. Congratulations to the Oklahoma Sooners. They move to 2-0 on the season. Now, the nightcap saw the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, for those of you that listen to Miners Live and listen to Campus Rewind on Monday, heard me say some things about this Notre Dame team that probably put them on notice. They played a generic Florida State team, completely generic Florida State team, no user submitted players whatsoever, and had to go to overtime before Vince McDonald ran off that, I believe it was a 42-yarder in overtime to give the Fighting Irish the victory. They had a 10-0 early lead. Florida State came back, and it really looked like Florida State was going to win that game. I was shocked that Notre Dame actually came back. Florida State had their chance in the fourth quarter to hold on to that victory, and they were just unable to do so. So tip of the cap for Notre Dame. They had an early lead. They gave it up. They fought, they came back, they went to overtime, and they won the game. So no one on Notre Dame is going to feel bad about getting a victory. At the end of the day, they were 1-0. They came away with the victory. A win is a win is a win. So shout out to Notre Dame for getting that victory. Now, on short rest, they come in, and now they've got Penn State. Penn State also got the victory in week 1. Hard-fought game against Wisconsin. Were able to get the victory. Euro Winbush looked fantastic in that game. And so tonight's game, I think, was a little bit in talking to and hearing a lot of the Notre Dame players prior to tonight's game, this was the game that they really wanted. This was the game that they really needed. They had to prove to themselves and maybe me and everyone else in the league that they were worthy of being ranked preseason number 5 in the country. Right? They were preseason number 5 in the country. They fell out. Here's a quick look at the schedule for this upcoming week. You see Notre Dame fell down to number 8. Quite honestly, I thought they should have been outside the top 10. This is the top 20. This is the schedule for week 2. You see Notre Dame fell from 5 to 8, even with the overtime win over Florida State. But I look at a team like Iowa, who was now number 12 in the country. I think that Iowa should have been higher ranked than Notre Dame heading into this week. Now, all of that being said, we get to the game tonight, and boom, Notre Dame puts an absolute whooping on Penn State. Now, again, just like the Florida State game, only flipped the script a little bit, Penn State got out to the early lead in this one, and then Notre Dame just absolutely turned it around. Take a quick look at some of my notes that I have from this game. Jet Blade looked fantastic with the 4 touchdowns, 334 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. You love to see that from your quarterback. I felt like there were times where he didn't look all that smooth. He didn't look all that consistent. Again, 19 of 32, so there's 13 incomplete passes to 19 completed passes. That's not fantastic. It's good. And when you throw 4 touchdowns, it doesn't really matter all that much. But some of those touchdowns were just really big plays. Look, if you guys don't know who McKinley Weeks is, then you better recognize, okay? Because, yeah, sure, you saw him on that big, long touchdown pass that he caught from Jet Blade. But more importantly, what I saw from McKinley Weeks was when Jet Blade threw the interception. I believe it was in the second quarter. Maybe it was the beginning of the third quarter. Jet Blade threw that interception, and McKinley Weeks busted his tail to prevent a pick 6. And Winbush ended up getting in the end zone, and it was and Penn State got a touchdown anyway. But McKinley Weeks chased down the Penn State defender and prevented him from getting a pick 6. It's not often you see a tight end track down a defensive back, especially when he's got open field on his way to the end zone for a touchdown. And McKinley Weeks did that. And then on the very next possession is when he caught that big touchdown. So McKinley Weeks really impressed me in this ball game. There's a lot of players on the Notre Dame defensive side that I thought stood out. I'm going to go straight down to the locker room and actually have the pleasure of bringing on one of those guys from the Notre Dame defense. He goes by the name of Keno Thedford. You guys thought for a second that he may have had a pick 6 during this game. He did not. He did not have a pick 6. However, he did have a nice game. His defense held Penn State to only 13 points. So defensive end for the Fighting Irish, fresh off the victory. Shut me up, Keno Thedford. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. I'm doing good. Man, that game was crazy. It was a good game. I felt good. My shoulder a little banged up because the offensive line was holding me. He tackled me. All
Oh,
that weight. It was strong. It was strong. But I felt very good that game, and I felt as a defense a whole that we did very good. 0 points scored on us in the second half.
right.
That halftime locker room, it was crazy in there. Jet Blade had his head down. We had to go there and tell him like, "Yo, come on, it ain't done yet." And especially Weeks, man, playing his heart out, man.
I look at one of the things that stood out to me the very beginning of the game, right? Obviously, you got down to the early deficit, but on the opening drive for Penn State, they drove all the way down the field. They got to the goal line, and you guys were able to stop them, hold them to a field goal. Tell me about what that does and how important that is at the very beginning of a game to prevent the team from getting a touchdown and just hold them to the 3 points.
Like it does a lot because they everybody expect them to score because how far they was. It was like right there on the one, I believe, and for them to hold them to a three, it shows a lot about the defense, shows a lot about the heart that we're playing with, and it really stops the momentum that's really trying to push forward and still give offense a good enough time, still give them like a fresh breather, like oh I don't have to hurry up and go score a touchdown, I just got to drive it down.
Absolutely. A couple of guys on the offensive side of the ball. Tell me about the play from Vince McDonald. What do you see from him last week? Obviously, the touchdown in overtime to win the game. Tonight, 161 yards on the ground, and it was almost like you didn't even know it. He started off kind of just sort of methodically, with a pedestrian first half, and then in the second half, the team just kind of blew up. Vince McDonald again, 161 yards. Talk about your running back a little bit.
Man, Vince, man, I'm the hype man on the team. So Vince, man, he that dude. He that dude. Like you can't go wrong with Vince, man. I call him VMAC for short. That's just me. But he did really good. He did really good second half. It was crazy. I didn't think he did much at first, and then he just blew my mind. My own his own teammate blew my mind, and he just no one can stop him. Like he just that dude. They talk about Penn State running back, being that guy we got to watch out for. But people better watch out for Vince now. People better watch out for Vince.
Yeah, so I came away from this game. I entered this game really impressed with Euro Winbush for Penn State and how he performed last week against Wisconsin. And in the first quarter of this game, I felt good about that. I felt even better about Euro Winbush. He looked really good, and he still does look really good. I think that he is, for my money right now, probably one of the top five, certainly top seven, maybe top five running backs in the college series. But Vince McDonald looked really, really good. Jet Blade, I didn't think performed all that great last week, but this week, 4 touchdowns on the board. Talk about your quarterback here.
I told everybody last week when people was talking, like they was bashing them. I felt like they was bashing them. How they was talking, I was like, it's first week, get used to the team. First week jitters, like Rob said, first week jitters. But today, we had practice. He worked very hard in practice. Stayed after. He was the first there and the last to leave. He worked very hard in practice and he did what he did. He proved what he needed to prove.
Yeah, so I should also clarify. I said earlier that last week's game against Florida State went to overtime. It actually didn't go to overtime. It was about to go to overtime when Vince McDonald ran that ball in for the touchdown to win the game. Number 8 team in the country. You were number 5 last week, and you got a win. But even with the win, you fell from number 5 to number 8. What are you looking at now this week? What are you I guess looking forward to the schedule, right? I brought up the schedule. I pulled the schedule up earlier. If we take a quick look at that schedule again, what games on here are you looking forward to this weekend?
Obviously, I gotta watch the Baylor versus Clemson because we do play Clemson next week, and that's the team I'm really looking forward to see how they do, so I can game plan and also help out my team. But other games, I want the top people to lose, like so we can bump up.
Sure. Number 8 in the country right now, on its way up, possibly 2-0 start for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Keno Thedford, great job tonight. I really appreciate you coming on. Good luck next week, and enjoy the games this weekend, man.
Thank you for having me, and it was much appreciated to be on here. Thank you.
All right, man. Talk soon. All right, so there it is, Keno Thedford for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. I was hoping we might have some more time. I thought maybe we'd have a chance to get Josh Hexel, strong safety for Notre Dame, to come on. Heck of a game from him tonight. He had 8 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a forced fumble. So great job from Josh Hexel. Andre Campbell, great performance. The first half, this Notre Dame secondary looked like they were a little bit slow. They looked a little bit sluggish. Second half, absolute balled out. Again, the forced fumble from Hexel, some big hits from Hexel. I saw him stepping up at the line of scrimmage, and only though 8 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, but several of those tackles were very close to tackles for loss, being right up at the line of scrimmage. So great job from Hexel. Actually, I think we are going to have a couple minutes. Only have a minute or two here, but let's go ahead. We do have Josh Hexel, strong safety from Notre Dame, on the line right now. Josh, I'm going to take you off of mute there, buddy, and tell me about the game tonight. What did you think? Josh, you there? Are you on mute, bud? It's 2021. You got to hit that unmute button. There you go. What's going on, Josh? You there? No. Might be having some audio difficulties there. So, but, great performance from Notre Dame. All around strong performance. Penn State looked good in the first half, but then sort of just fell apart in the second half. Yuki, that third quarter interception, it looked like he was doing the right thing in the pocket. He rolled to the right. Look, Euro Winbush is a good blocking running back. Euro Winbush in the first quarter had a fantastic block. It was on Anaru Kala, defensive end, number 90, defensive end for Notre Dame. Anaru Kala. Winbush absolutely picked up the blitz. Absolutely picked it up, gave Yuki plenty of time in the pocket. And later on in the game, third quarter, again, when Yuki threw that interception to Andre Campbell, he threw it into double coverage. It was a bad decision. It was a bad throw. But again, Euro Winbush picked up the rush again, and Yuki looked like he rolled to the right a little bit to allow Winbush to pick up the blitz, and then turned around and threw crossbody into double coverage, and that's where he got the pick. So it's a little bit frustrating because you see him make the right read and move over and slide in the pocket to get the running back in position to pick up the blocker, pick up the blitz, pick up the rush. And then he turns around and he throws it into double coverage anyway. So a little bit frustrating. There's your boy, Andre Campbell. Great job, Andre Campbell, tonight with the interception. All around, just super impressed with Notre Dame. Great performance by Notre Dame tonight. I was dogging them a little bit after the performance against Florida State. I thought they looked sluggish. I don't think they deserve to be number 5 in the country. They proved me wrong. They proved me wrong in the second half. The first half, I wasn't so high. I thought, you know what, maybe this Notre Dame team is just a little bit overrated. They've got some really high overalls on defense, but maybe they just aren't doing that much. They've got some really good wide receivers. They weren't really doing that much. And then McKinley Weeks started balling out. And then you saw Trip Soto show up a little bit as well. So great performance from Notre Dame. Excited to see what is in store for them next week. That Baylor game will be pretty impressive. So that's pretty much it, guys. What do we got here? Anthony Fry, you can't say enough good things about the offense and defense. Everyone looked outstanding. They really did. For those of you that don't know, Chico Canetti, number 54, middle linebacker for Notre Dame. That is Anthony Fry's player. That's the same guy. Chico Canetti had a great game. Several big tackles, a couple big hit stick tackles for loss. He was all over the place as well. He was right in there on the forced fumble from Hexel. Actually, it was Canetti making the tackle when Hexel came over and forced the fumble. So really, I could sit here and go over pretty much all of the user submitted guys on defense for Notre Dame. But I'm not going to do that. We only got about 45 seconds left. These post-game shows, these campus rewinds during the week, post-game stuff, I'm going to try to keep them to 20 minutes, give you guys a chance to come on, talk about the game, break down the games a little bit. So that's pretty much it. Wanted to get this one out of the way. Great win for Oklahoma. Allen Mourning, again, another solid performance in the victory over Auburn. Oklahoma 2-0 on the season. Great job for them. Great job by them. And Notre Dame, again, great win here to get to 2-0 on the season. Penn State falls to 1-1. But again, I still think Penn State is a good team. They just played a better Notre Dame team. So that's going to do it. That's going to do it for me and Campus Rewind. Guys, thanks for tuning in. And stick around throughout the weekend. I'll try to get some more of these up. If not, Tuesday night. Don't forget, Tuesday night, Miners Live is back. We will have Campus Rewind on Tuesday. For that, this is it. Campus Rewind, Thursday night edition of the College Series. Congratulations, Oklahoma. Congratulations, Notre Dame. This is Chris Dunn. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, everybody.